Their leader Ryan Wolf Davidson decides to have some fun with the blind man's dog, unaware that he's about to provoke a response that will change not only his life, but the entire town's future. The shocking confrontation that follows unleashes more than just Hunter's military training. It exposes deep wounds carried by both the hardened bikers and the small-town community as Wolf discovers that Hunter served, alongside his own brother, a Can-9 handler who never made it home from Afghanistan. What begins as a moment of cruel entertainment transforms into an extraordinary journey of redemption. In Birchwood Valley, a single act of cruelty will lead to unexpected healing, proving that sometimes the greatest strength lies not in the power to intimidate, but in the courage to change before we jump back in. Tell us where you're tuning in from. And if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you. The morning sun cast long shadows across Birchwood Valley's main street as Harold Bennett and Hunter make their way down the familiar sidewalk. Hunter's paw move, with practiced precision, each step carefully measured as he guides his companion past the morning bustle of their small Montana town. Margaret's voice rings out from her diner's doorway. "Morning, Harold. Coffee's fresh, and I've got those whole wheat biscuits you like." Harold's weathered face breaks into a warm smile. His unseeing eyes crinkle. At the corners, as he turns toward her, voice sounds tempting. "Margaret, Hunter's been extra attentive on our walk today, thinks I. Can't tell when he's trying to steer me toward your kitchen." Hunter maintains his professional demeanor, but his tail gives a slight whack. At the mention of his name, a passing truck backfires, and Hunter's ears instantly prick up, his body subtly shifting into a protective stance before quickly relaxing, a glimpse of his military training. That few notice well come on in. Then Chief Grant's already at his usual table, talking about some motorcycle club that's been spotted, heading this way inside the diner. The aroma of coffee and fresh-baked pastries fills the air. Harold's cane stays folded as Hunter guides him to his regular booth. The German Shepherd's nails click precisely on the linoleum floor, navigating between tables with expertise. "Chief," Grant's deep voice carries across the diner. "Harold, good to see you. How's the work on that rocking chair? Coming along slower than it used to be, Thomas. But my hands still know their way around wood." Hunter's gotten good at fetching the right tools, though he still thinks my sanding could use more work. The chief's laugh is warm but carries an undercurrent of concern. "Listen, Harold, you heard about these bikers coming through the Iron Wolves MC. They've been causing trouble in some of the neighboring towns." Harold's fingers trace the rim of his coffee cup. "Town survived its share of trouble before, Thomas. Besides, I've got a pretty good early warning system right here." H's down to Hunter's head. The morning continues with its usual rhythm, but there's a tension in the air that even Harold can sense as he and Hunter leave the diner. They pass Oliver's hardware store, where Harold spent decades buying supplies for his carpentry business before the accident morning. "Mr. Bennett, Lily Lou's young voice pipes up from the sidewalk. "Can I pet Hunter today? What's our rule?" Lily, Harold asks kindly. "Always ask the hand first and never pet a service dog in their vest," she recites carefully. "That's right, Hunter's working now, but maybe we'll see you at the park later when he's off duty." The sound of distant motorcycles echoes off the mountain, still miles away but growing closer. Hunter's ears twitch at the sound, but he maintains his steady pace beside Harold at the corner of Pine and Main. Harold pauses as Hunter indicates the curb. The morning air carries the scent of approaching rain, and Harold's fingers detect a slight change in the temperature. His other senses have sharpened since losing his sight, picking up nuances he never noticed before. "Beautiful day, isn't it?" Rosa, Harold calls out, recognizing the veteran center director's footsteps. Rosa Martinez approaches her clipboard tucked under her arm. "Harold, I was hoping to catch you. How's our star graduate doing?" Hunter stands perfectly still as Rosa conducts her monthly check-in. The Veterans Center takes special interest in their K-9 placements, particularly one with Hunter's distinguished service record. "He's been more alert than usual today," Harold notes, picking up on something in the air. "I suspect." Rosa's voice carries a note of concern. "Maybe he's sensing what everyone's talking about, these bikers. They've been through Sterling, and Millbrook left quite a mess behind you." "Sound worried, Rosa? Remember who trained Hunter? He's got more combat experience than most soldiers." The conversation is interrupted by Oliver Warren hurrying over from his hardware store. "Harold, been meaning to ask those specialty chisels you ordered years ago. Still got them. My supply is gone. Belly up and I've got a customer looking for quality tools. Harold smiled, remembering the feel of those particular tools in my workshop gathering dust. Hunter home, the German shepherd smoothly adjusts, direction leading. Harold toward their modest house 3 blocks away. The sound of motorcycles grows slightly louder, though still distant. As they walk, Harold reflects on how his life changed after the accident. The table saw that took his sight also took his livelihood, or so he thought. But woodworking was in his blood, and with Hunter's help, he'd found ways to continue his craft. Different, now slower, but his fingers could read grain patterns better than many eyes hold. Harold stops as he hears Dr. Sarah Lee's voice calling from the clinic doorway. Harold, glad I caught you. Lily hasn't stopped talking about the birdhouse you're teaching her to make, but she mentioned Hunter seemed distracted during yesterday's lesson, just keeping an eye on the street. Sarah. He does that. Sometimes when he senses change coming, the rumble of engines grows louder. And now conversations all along Main Street quiet momentarily before resuming in hushed tones. Hunter's posture shifts subtly, not tense but more alert. Chief Grant's patrol car rolls to a stop nearby. Harold, maybe cut your walk short today. Head home a bit early, Thomas. I've never run from trouble even when I could see it coming. Besides, Hunter's got a sixth sense about danger. Don't you, boy? The shepherd remains focused on his duties. But his ISS continue tracking the approaching sound, more than just motorcycles now. The distinctive growl of heavily modified engines, the kind favored by motorcycle clubs. Jennifer Grant joins them, her heels clicking on the sidewalk. Harold, the council meeting's been moved up. Given the circumstances, politics was never my strong suit. Jennifer, that's why we elected you to the council. Trust. You'll do what's right for the town. The first waves of thunder roll in from the mountains, almost masking the growing roar of engines. Almost Hunter's training shows in how he positions himself, angles his body to better protect Harold while maintaining his service dog duties. Margaret steps out of her diner again. Harold Bennett, you at least come get some lunch to take home. Can't have you missing meals on account of those troublemakers. As Harold and Hunter make their way to the diner's entrance, the first echoes of motorcycle engines bounce off the buildings of Main Street. The iron wolves are no longer approaching. They've arrived. The peaceful morning air fills with the rumble of precision-tuned engines and the scent of exhaust. Hunter remains steady, but Harold feels the subtle shift in his harness. The same alertness the shepherd showed in his military days when trouble was on. The horizon, quite an entrance they're making. Harold comments quietly to Margaret, sounds like at least 5 bikes, 6. Hunter confirmed softly, big ones, custom pipes from the sound. They're slowing down by the town square. The morning's peace shatters completely as the iron wolves announce their arrival with a coordinated rev of engines that sends pigeons scattering from the square's clock tower in the diner. Conversations die away, replaced by the heavy thrum of idle engines and the first bootsteps of riders dismounting their machines. Harold stands calmly in the diner's doorway, one hand on Hunter's harness, the other folded around his white cane. The German shepherd's muscles are coiled with practiced restraint, ready but waiting. This is how warriors prepare, not with fear, but with measured readiness. The stage is set, the peaceful rhythm of Birchwood Valley holds its breath as leather. Boots hit pavement and chains jingle against motorcycle frames. The real story is about to begin. The iron wolves waste no time marking their territory. Ryan Wolf. Davidson plants his boots firmly on Birchwood Valley's Main Street, his leather cut bearing patches that tell stories of a decade on the road behind him rock. Grant's voice cuts through the rumble of idling motorcycles. He approaches with measured steps, thumbs hooked in his duty belt. Welcome to Birchwood Valley. I trust you'll find our town hospitable, long as the hospitality is returned. Wolf turned slowly, a smile that doesn't reach his eyes spreading across his weathered face. Now that's what I call a proper welcome boys look. Here seems the local law knows how to greet visitors civil. Likey civil, exactly how we like to keep things. The chief responds, his voice level but carrying an edge of steel. The tension breaks unexpectedly when Lily Lou's ball bounces into the street, rolling to a stop near Stryker's boots. The biker's face darkens as he draws back his foot to kick it away, but Wolf's hand clamps down on his shoulder. Easy, Their brother Wolf scoops up the ball, studying it for a moment before looking toward the frightened girl on the sidewalk. Something flickers across his face. A shadow of memory gone as quickly as it appeared. He tosses the ball back gently. Better keep a better grip on that little lady. Dr. Sarah Lee hurries to collect her daughter. But not before Wolf notices the military service flag in their clinic's window. His jaw tightens almost imperceptibly. Nice town you got. Here Chief Wolf continues, his tone shifting. Slightly reminds me of somewhere I used to know before everything changed. Shadow the club's sergeant-at-arms breaks away to inspect the hardware store's window display. Oliver Warren watches nervously as the biker's reflection looms among the hanging tools. Some quality craft here. Shadow comments, surprising everyone with his knowledge. These chisels. German steel. Japanese. Harold speaks up from the diner entrance, his voice carrying quiet authority. Oliver is the best. The biker's attention shifts to the blind man, and his dog Wolf studies them with narrowed eyes, taking in Hunter's service vest, and Harold's unseeing gaze. A blind carpenter blade scoffs. Now that's something you don't see every day. You'd be surprised what you can do when you learn to see with more than just your eyes. Harold responds evenly. Hunter stands, rock steady beside him, but there's a subtle shift in his stance. A soldier's instinct recognizes potential threats. Wolf steps closer, his boot heels striking the pavement with deliberate force. Military dog, he observes. Noting Hunter's bearing, something in his voice changes, carries a weight of recognition. Afghanistan, 3 tours. Harold confirms. Now he helps me navigate a different kind of battlefield. The MC president's hand unconsciously moves to a chain around his neck. Neck dog tags clicking softly beneath his leather cut. My brother, he starts, then catches himself. His expression hardens again. Rock, check out that garage on the corner. Might need some work done while we're here. As the bikers spread out through town, Rosa Martinez emerges from the veteran center, files clutched to her chest. Wolf catches sight of the center's sign, and for a brief moment his carefully maintained facade cracks. John Davidson, she says quietly. Recognition dawning in her eyes. He was one of ours. K9 unit. Wolf's head snaps around, eyes blazing. Lady, you don't know nothing about my brother, but his voice betrays him carrying more pain than menace. The morning wears on as the Iron Wolves establish their presence. They claim tables at Margaret's Diner, inspect local businesses with too much interest, and make sure everyone knows that not just passing through but beneath their intimidating exterior, observant eyes might notice signs of men carrying burdens heavier than their leather cuts. Chief Grant maintains his visible presence, walking a fine line between hospitality and vigilance. The town holds its breath, watching the delicate dance between maintaining peace and preparing for trouble. As Harold and Hunter make their way home, the German shepherd guide his companion with extraordinary awareness, noting each biker's position, remembering their movements and patterns. Military training never truly fades, it adapts. Wolf watches them go, his hand again finding the dog tags beneath his cut. Stryker got a job for you, he says. Finally need you to learn everything you can about that blind man and his dog. Something ain't sitting right. What? Kind of something, a boss, the kind that makes me think this quiet little town might be exactly where we need to be for a while. Wolf's eyes drift to the Veterans Center, then back to Harold and Hunter's retreating figures. One way or another, something's going to break here. Best we be ready when it does. The autumn wind carries a chill as storm clouds gather over Birchwood Valley. Change rides in on motorcycle wheels, but not all storms bring destruction. Sometimes they clear the air, pee away old pain, make room for something new to grow. But first the thunder has to roll. Telling and preparing this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. Late afternoon. Sunlight filters through Warren's hardware store windows as Harold's skilled fingers trace the grain of a cherrywood plank. The familiar scent of sawdust mingles with metal and oil, creating the workshop's unique perfume. Hunter lies alert at his feet, watching the door where 3 Iron Wolves members linger, pretending to inspect power tools. Red oak would work better for what you're planning, Harold says without turning his head. Cherry's too soft for outdoor furniture. Shadow steps forward, boot heels clicking against the worn floorboards. How did you know what we were looking at? You've been handling the cherry. Display pieces is for 10 minutes. I can hear the distinctive sound it makes when you tap it. 15 years running this department before I lost my sight. You learn a few things. Oliver Warren nervously adjusts his glasses, watching. The interaction from behind. His counter, the tension breaks unexpectedly when Shadow picks up a handplane testing its weight, with surprising familiarity. German steel Shadow comments my old man was a craftsman too. Before the drink got him outside. Wolf's voice carries through. Open door as he argues with Rosa Martinez on the sidewalk. You got no right digging into my brother's service record. The Veterans Center needs to update its files. Rosa responds calmly. John Davidson's name is on our memorial wall. His K9 partner is buried. In our service dog section, Wolf's boots scrape against concrete as he turns sharply. Max, the dog's name was Max. The revelation hangs in the air. Hunter's ears prick up at the name and Harold's hands still on the wood in the resulting silence. The sound of approaching motorcycle engines grows louder. More iron wolves arriving inside the store. Shadow sets down the plane. With unexpected gentleness. Needs some supplies. Proper ones. Not the cheap stuff. Club's setting up temporary workshop in that old garage we leased. Chief ground patrol car rolls past slowly, its presence both reassurance and warning through the window. Jennifer Grant can be seen hurrying toward the town hall, clutching documents to her chest. Town council's meeting early. Oliver mutters more to himself than anyone else. Harold's fingers never stop reading the wood grain as he speaks. Folks around here believe in second chances long as they're earned, right? Hunter, the German shepherd's tail, thumps once against the floor, but his attention remains fixed on the door outside. Wolf's voice has grown quieter, heavy with memory as he continues talking with Rosa Max. Took point that day. John was. He always trusted that dog more than the tech said dogs don't lie, don't break, down just pure instinct and loyalty. Rosa's response is too quiet to hear, but Wolf's next words carry clearly. Found out 3 months later, they'd named a training program after them. Fat lot of good. That did my brother. The conversation ends abruptly as 3 more motorcycles rumble into town. Wolf's boots strike the pavement with renewed purpose as he strides toward the newcomers inside Warren's Hardware. Harold carefully sets aside the cherry wood. Oliver, show them where you keep the quality Japanese. Chisel Theons in the locked cabinet. Shadow's surprise is evident in his voice. Those are professional grade. Yes, Harold agrees, simply they are. The interaction is interrupted by raised voices from the street striker, and one of the new arrivals are squaring off near the gas station. Their aggressive posturing drawing worried looks from passers-by. Hunter rises. Smoothly tension, visible in his powerful frame. Harold lays a calming hand on his head. Easy, boy. Not our fire. But the German shepherds. Military training recognizes escalating situations. His eyes track movement through the window while maintaining his position beside Harold. Margaret hurries past. Outside, heading toward Dr. Lee's clinic, where Lily watches the scene unfold with wide eyes. The little girl clutches her half-finished birdhouse. Harold's latest teaching project, Wood's got memory. Harold says conversationally, despite the growing tension outside, holds on to every mark. We make every cut, every grain pattern, kind of like people that way. Shadow moves closer to the wood display. His chains silent now, deliberately quieted. Some marks go deep, true. Harold agrees, but a skilled craftsman knows how to work with the grain. Not against it. Sometimes the deepest scars can become the strongest points. The confrontation outside dissolves as Wolf emerges from the Veterans Center. His expression storm dark. The new arrivals snap to attention. Old military habits showing through their outlaw veneer. Rosa appears in the doorway behind him, holding a folder. Ryan, there's something else you should see about John's last mission, lady. You're pushing your luck. Wolf growls, but his voice lacks conviction inside the hardware store. Harold runs his fingers along another piece of wood. I'll need this piece delivered to my workshop, Hunter, and I have a project to finish the rocking chair. Oliver asks. Know something Newtown could use a proper memorial bench near the Veterans Center. Shadow's sharp intake of breath is almost inaudible. Almost the late afternoon light takes on a golden quality. As Harold and Hunter prepare to leave outside, Wolf stands alone by the Veterans Center sign. His hand again finding the dog tags under his cut. Your brother, Harold says as he passes Hunter, guiding him precisely. He understood about working with good tools. Wolf's head snaps up. What do you know about it? Nothing, Harold replies, just that military keenies like Hunter, like Max, They're the finest tools ever created, not because they're perfect, but because they understand loyalty doesn't end when the mission does. The words land like physical blows. Wolf's leather creaks as his fists clench and relax behind him. Shadow emerges from the hardware store carrying a wrapped package of premium tools. Boss Shadow calls, "Think you should see these." The sun touches the mountains as Harold and Hunter make their way home. Behind them, the Iron Wolves gather their usual bravado, subdued by something that looks almost like reflection at the town hall. Lights burn late as the council meets. Jennifer Grant's voice carries through an open window. It's not just about who they are, it's about who they might have been, who they might still become. The autumn wind carries wood shavings from Harold's workshop, where a half-finished memorial bench takes shape under knowing hands in the gathering dusk. Hunter's ears track every movement in town, alert for trouble but sensing something else in the changing wind, the possibility of music transformation. Dawn breaks over Margaret's diner as Stryker Peterson slams, his coffee mug down, liquid sloshing onto the worn countertop. His eyes fix on the television where a news report about veteran support programs plays quietly. "Turn that bleeding heart garbage off," he snarls at no one in particular behind the counter. Margaret calmly continues wiping glasses. Her movements deliberate and unhurried. "Remote's broken," she replies. "Evanly been meaning to get it fixed at a corner." Booth Dr. Sarah Lee spreads papers. Across the table, her breakfast growing cold as she studies military documents. Her daughter Lily's half-finished birdhouse sits beside her coffee cup, a reminder of simpler concerns. The diner bell chimes as Rock Anderson enters, bringing a blast of cold morning air. His expression darkened, seeing Stryker's agitation. "Boss, want you at the garage now. I ain't done eating. Wasn't a request, brother." The tension breaks as Chief Grant's wife Jennifer hurries in, making straight for Dr. Lee's table. "Sarah, you need to see this. Town council received complaints from Sterling about the Club 3 businesses damaged last month." Before Sarah can respond, Stryker's chair scrapes back. Violently, "Got something to say. Council lady, say it to my face." Rock's hand clamps down on his shoulder. "Outside now." Through the window, Harold and Hunter can be seen approaching the diner. The German Shepherd's alert posture suggests he's already aware of the tension inside Dr. Lee. Jennifer continues, lowering her voice. "Rosa found something in the archives. The K9 TR in program John Davidson worked with. It's connected to Hunter's unit." Sarah's eyes widen. As she shuffles through her papers, that explains the timing. The new protocols implemented after John's last mission. They're the same once Hunter's unit used. The diner's door opens again. As Wolf enters, his expression thunderous. "Stryker, what part of Keep Low ain't clear?" He stops short, seeing the papers spread across Sarah's table. Hunter positions himself precisely between Harold and the bikers, his training evident in every line of his body. Wolf's eyes lock onto the dog, recognition flashing across his face. "That program," he says quietly. "The Iwone, they named after John. You were part of it, weren't you, dog?" Harold's hand rests, steady on Hunter's harness. "Your brother's sacrifice changed how they trained K9 units, saved a lot of lives." Didn't save his. Wolf responds, but the anger in his voice has shifted to something more complex. Outside, Stryker paces the sidewalk like a caged animal while Rock watches with growing concern. Through the garage's open doors down the street, Shadow can be seen working on a motorcycle. His movements precise with the same tools he'd bought from Warren Town Council's meeting again today. Jennifer said, gathering her papers. "Chief Grant's under pressure from Sterling and Millbrook. They want us to move the club along." "Might not be that simple anymore," Sarah responds, touching the military documents. "Rosa's found something else about John's last mission, something that never made it into the official reports." Wolf's attention snaps to their conversation before he can respond. Stryker burst back through the door. "Boss, we got trouble. Blazer and Demon just rolled in from Sterling. They're saying we've gone soft." The MC president's face hardens, but a flicker of uncertainty crosses his features. His hand moves to the dog tags under his cut, a gesture becoming more noticeable to observant eyes. Margaret steps out from behind the counter, her usual warmth replaced by steel. "Take it outside, gentlemen, all of it." As the bikers exit, Harold makes his way to Sarah's table. Hunter, guiding him with military precision, "Found something interesting in those archives, didn't you?" "Doc, the training protocols changed after John Davidson's last mission, Sarah confirms they started emphasizing handler-dog bond. Over technical procedures, Hunter was one of the first canines trained under the new program. John always said machines break. Wolf's voice carries from the doorway where he's paused. Dogs don't knot if you trust them. The morning light streams through the windows as more motorcycles rumble into town. The Iron Wolves' world is closing, enforcing them to choose between who they've been and who they might become at the Veterans Center. Rosa Martinez makes a decisive move, pulling a sealed file from a locked cabinet. The folder bears John Davidson's name and a classified stamp that's long since expired. Chief Grant's patrol rolls past, the diner followed by 3 unmarked vehicles with Sterling County plates. The pressure from neighboring towns is mounting, pushing Birchwood Valley toward a decision point in his workshop. Harold's memorial bench takes shape, each chisel stroke. Guided by decades of experience, the wood grain tells its own story under his knowing hands, speaking of growth damage and healing times running short. Harold says to Hunter as they hear the new MO motorcycles approach, "Sometimes the hardest part of healing is admitting you're wounded." Hunter's ears track the growing tension outside, but his position never wavers. Like the bench taking shape in the workshop, some things need to break before they can be rebuilt. Stronger the morning wears on as fault lines deepen through Birchwood Valley. New arrivals challenge the Iron Wolves' evolving dynamic. Town council members wrestle with duty, compassion, and in a quiet corner of Margaret's diner, military documents tell a story of sacrifice, change, and the unbreakable bond between handlers and their canine partners. Wolf lingers in the diner doorway, caught between his club's expectations and his brother's memory. The dog tags beneath his cut carry more than just names and numbers. They carry the weight of choices not yet made. "Your brother Harold," calls softly. "He changed things." Wolf question is, "Are you ready to see how much?" The MC president's response is lost in the rumble of approaching motorcycles, but his expression speaks volumes in Birchwood Valley. The past and present are about to collide, forcing everyone to choose which wounds to heal and which bonds to preserve. Blazer's chrome plated Harley gleams menacingly in the afternoon sun as he circles the Iron Wolves' temporary garage. His prospect patch is still new, but his reputation for trouble preceded his arrival in Birchwood Valley. Beside him, Demon methodically cracks, his knuckles sizing up Shadow's careful work on an engine block. Pretty professional setup. "You got here," Blazer sneers, "almost looks legitimate." "That what we're doing now?" Wolf playing mechanic. Wolf wipes grease from his hands, his movements deliberately. "Calm Club needs income, legitimate business keeps the heat off." "Heat's already here." Demon cuts in Sterling charters, asking questions. "Since when do Iron Wolves roll over for small-town cops?" Before Wolf can respond, Rosa Martinez's SUV pulls up outside. She steps out clutching a worn manila envelope, her expression grim. "Ryan, we need to talk about what really happened on John's last mission." Blazer steps between them. "Lady, you're interrupting club business. Stand down," Wolf orders, his voice carrying the weight of authority. "This is about my brother." The tension shifts as Harold and Hunter approach the garage, their morning walk taking them past the growing confrontation. Hunter's alert posture suggests he's already assessing the new threats. "Well, look what we got here." Blazer laughs. Town mascots making their rounds. Shadow sets down his wrench with careful precision. "Watch your mouth, prospect, or what you gone soft to, old man, turning wrenches instead of cracking heads." Harold's voice cuts through the rising tension. "Interesting choice of tools you're using on that transmission." Shadow, "German engineering requires a lighter touch. Been meaning to ask you about that." Shadow responds deliberately, turning his back on Blazer. "These Japanese precision tools work different than American ones." Demon's face darkens at being ignored. He steps toward Harold, but Hunter's low growl stops him. Cold, the German Shepherd's military training shows in his stance, not aggressive, but unmistakably ready. Rosa seizes the moment to approach Wolf, holding out the envelope. The official report was wrong. JN and Max weren't just on a routine patrol that day, they were testing the new integrated canine protocols. "Your brother's suggestions about handler dog trust over technology, they were implementing them." Wolf trembles lightly as he takes the envelope. "He wrote to me about changes he wanted to make. Said the brass wouldn't listen. They did listen." "Ryan, After every K9 unit deployed since then, including Hunter Strained, under protocols your brother helped design, his death wasn't meaningless. BL spits on the garage floor. Meaningless is what this club's becoming. Sterling Charter sends their regards. Wolf say it's time for a leadership change. The words hang in the air like smoke. Rock and Stryker exchange glances, hands tensing on their tools. Shadow continues working on the transmission, but his movements have become more deliberate, more aware. That true boss? Stryker asks quietly. We changing how we do things? Wolf stares at the envelope in his hands. Decades of brotherhood and violence, wearing in his expression. John used to say you can't lead through fear. Dog won't follow you far if it's just scared of the consequences. Dogs and men ain't the same thing. Blazer counters, reaching slowly toward his vest. Hunter moves with military precision, positioning himself between Harold and the escalating threat. His training shows in every line of his body: protection without aggression, readiness without fear. Actually, Harold says calmly, both respond to trust more than fear, right? Shadow, the older biker, nods, setting his wrench down. With purpose, learning that myself. Quality tools, quality work. Build something that lasts. Dr. Lee's clinic. Doctor opens across the street as she hurries toward them, more military documents in hand. Rosa, you need to see this. The training program changes after John's death. They didn't just save soldiers' lives. The data shows a complete revolution in handler-dog integration. Demon takes a threatening step toward the doctor, but Rock's hand clamps down on his shoulder. Ladies trying to help, brother. Maybe it's time we listened. The afternoon sun catches the chrome of the motorcycles as the power dynamic shifts. Blazer's hand moves again toward his vest. But now he finds himself facing not just Hunter but Shadow and Rock as well. Club's changing, Wolf says quietly, reading the documents about his brother's legacy. Question is, you changing with it? Prospect Chief Grant's patrol car rolls up slowly, but he makes no move to intervene. Sometimes the best law enforcement means letting people choose their own path to redemption. Harold's voice carries across the tension. That memorial bench, it's not just for the K9s lost in service, it's for the handlers too. For all of them, the ones who made it home and the ones who didn't. Wolf's hands tighten on his brother's file. Years of violence and brotherhood, loyalty and loss, crystallize in this moment of choice. The Iron Wolves stand at a crossroads, their president holding proof that sometimes the greatest strength lies in the courage to change. The autumn wind carries the scent of approaching rain as Birchwood Valley holds its breath in this quiet mountain town surrounded by tools of precision and instruments of violence. Old wounds begin to heal in unexpected ways. But first the storm must break. Rain begins to fall as Blazer squares off against Wolf in the garage doorway, the tension crackling like static before a storm. Behind them, motorcycle engines tick as they cool, counting down moments to a confrontation. Long incoming. Sterling Charter's got questions about your leadership. Blazer announces loud enough for everyone to hear way they see it. Iron Wolves are losing their teeth, getting domesticated. Shadow's tools lie silent on his workbench, but his hands rest near them with careful precision. Rock positions himself by the garage's side door while Stryker hovers uncertain between the factions. Domesticated. Wolf's voice carries a dangerous edge. That what you call honoring my brother's memory? Your brother's dead. Demon cuts in clubs living, or it was before you started playing nice with locals. Dr. Lee steps forward, military documents clutched in her rain-spotted hands. John Davidson didn't die because he was weak. He died testing protocols that changed military K9 operations forever. Nobody asked you, Lady. Blazer snarls, but Wolf's raised hand stops him short. Actually, Wolf says quietly, I'm asking now. Tell me about my brother's program. A small crowd has gathered at a safe distance. Margaret watches from her diner doorway, phone discreetly in hand. Chief Grant's cruiser idles at the corner, present, but not intervening. Harold's voice carries from where he stands with Hunter, your brother. Understood something fundamental about working dogs. Something I learned, training military K9s before the accident took my sight. The revelation draws all eyes to him. Even Blazer's aggressive stance falters slightly. You were a trainer, Wolf asks. Civilian contractor, helped develop the integration protocols John was perfecting when he died. Never met him. but I knew his work. His theories about handler dog trust became the foundation of modern canine training. Hunter stands alertly beside Harold, his bearing carrying the unmistakable stamp of that training. Rain darkens his fur, but his focus never wavers. From the developing situation, Lily's voice suddenly pipes up. From behind her mother, "Is that why Hunter watches everything like my dad used to?" Mom says he was a soldier too. The innocent question lands like a stone in still water. Dr. Lee pulled her jaw to close. But the child's words have already shifted the atmosphere. "Your dad served." Wolf asks softly, "Afghanistan?" Sarah confirms he always said the K9 units saved more lives than anyone could count. "The new protocols your brother helped develop there." Why Blazer's hand strays toward his vest again, touching story. Don't change the fact that the Iron Wolves need leadership with backbone. The movement doesn't go unnoticed. Hunter's posture shifts subtly, not aggressive, but prepared. Years of military training coordinate with his service dog discipline, reading the signs of impending violence. Backbone. Shadow speaks up, his weathered voice. Carrying unexpected authority, been riding with the wolves, 15 years. Backbone ain't about who can throw the first punch, it's about knowing which fights matter. Rain drums on the garage roof as Wolf opens his brother's file. Photos spill out. John with his K9 partner Max. Training documents covered in handwritten notes, letters about proposed changes to the program. John knew every dog in his unit, Wolf says, voice rough with memory. Names, quirks, capabilities. Said you couldn't rely on just technology or just training. Had to understand the bond. Bond didn't save him demon counters, but uncertainty has crept into his. Jerome No Rosa steps forward, but his ideas saved countless others. Every K9 unit deployed after his death trained under protocols he helped design, including Hunter the German Shepherd's ears, prick at his name, but his focus remains on Blazer's concealed hand. Military dogs don't forget their training even years later. See how that dog's watching. Harold gestures toward Hunter. Not aggressive, but ready. John's protocols emphasized controlled response over aggressive reaction, changed everything about how military K9s operate. Thunder rolls across the valley as Blazer makes his choice. His hand moves decisively toward his vest, but he never completes the motion. Hunter moves with fluid precision, years of military training combining with service dog discipline. Before anyone can react, Blazer finds himself expertly blocked, his balance disrupted by a maneuver designed to control, without harming, stand down. Wolf's command cracks like the thunder. That's not just some seeing eye dog, that's my brother's legacy. In action, the garage falls silent except for the rain. Blazer regains his balance, face flushed with rage and embarrassment. But the power dynamic has shifted irreversibly. Club needs to evolve. Wolf continues. John on sword with the K9 program. Change or die. the peaceful town of Birchwood Valley, a blind carpenter named Harold Bennett lives a quiet life with his German Shepherd service dog Hunter. What most people don't know is that Hunter isn't just any service dog. He's a decorated military canine with 3 tours in Afghanistan, forced into early retirement after saving countless lives when the notorious Iron Wolves motorcycle club roars into town. Their leader Ryan Wolf Davidson decides to have some fun with the blind man's dog, unaware that he's